everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Good Night with Scooter Pie. I'm your host, Scooter Pie. Before we begin, I just would like to say a few words about the wonderful person who I interviewed for this episode, and her name is Blakey Hastings, and she is a multi-talented healer, and she is the owner of a center just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, known as Northstar Holistic Health. Now, Blakey does a bunch of amazing things for people. She is a yoga therapist. She is a body worker, massage therapist, and she is also a psychic medium. We also talk about doing self-care during the coronavirus times, including some tips on self-massage. So, without saying anything more, please enjoy my interview with my friend Blakey Hastings. Woo! Applause! Blakey Hastings! Woo!
Thank you.
Hi, Blakey. Thank you for being here today. I'm so happy to see you.
Thank you. Good morning.
And I noticed, good morning. And I noticed, woo, my sleeves are falling down. I'm so excited. That before we started recording, I noticed that beautiful painting that's there in the background of those gorgeous, colorful animals. And you told me about the person who painted it. So could you tell our audience?
Sure. Yeah. So that painting, those are goats, and those that's a painting by my friend Linda Pilkington, and she is really dedicated to the earth. And so the way that she sells her paintings is through asking people to make commitments to earth-friendly behaviors. So, for instance, she'll ask you to commit to stop using plastic straws, or she might, I think she has one where it's like you stop eating meat, maybe stop eating all animal products for certain periods of time. So, yeah, it's a really original and unique idea. And so this painting behind me is actually for sale. I don't know what you have to do to get that, what behavior you have to do, but that one's actually available.
Oh, awesome. And we'll give her info at the end of the show.
All right.
So I'm so excited to have you here today because you have a lot of wonderful qualifications for this question I'm going to ask. So during this difficult time period in history for literally everyone in the world, we're all like alone and scared, freaked out about so many things, looking for ways to have comfort and to soothe ourselves and to take good care of ourselves. And I thought maybe you would have some suggestions using your various qualifications of just things we can do in our homes with ourselves to take good care of ourselves and help us to feel better right now.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I think the main thing is recognizing that we're in, that we're in a time of uncertainty, and that there are a lot of things that we're powerless over. And when we accept what we're powerless over, that can free us up from worry. So, I think the most important thing is one of the main things is just to acknowledge how hard it is, and that there's going to be fear and worry and anxiety and depression. There's going to be all those things, just letting those things come to you. And then whatever, if you have any practices, there's meditation, of course, is a great practice, but I think that one of the drawbacks of these kind of self-care things is we get too much on should, I should meditate, I should be exercising because I should be taking care of myself, and I should be getting through this perfectly because I have all this time at home, but we're still really going to experience a lot of emotions and a lot of ups and downs. So, I mean, for me, some of the things that have been the most helpful is I have a daily meditation practice, and so I have kept that daily meditation practice. And then I added more meditation, limiting my consumption of media of all forms, except for the show, of course.
Of course.
Of course. Being really intentional about what kind of media I'm consuming, and then making sure that I have a break from that, getting exposed to the outdoors and the sunshine, there's lots of studies that have been done on how our brains react to 20 minutes of being in actual nature. So like even in the city, like where I grew up in South Philly, and
where I am right now.
yeah. So, and I mean, the houses are packed together, but there's lots of streets where there's trees. So even though like you're not next to the woods, like where I am now, the street that I grew up on was lined with trees, and so even just walking in the city and allowing the shape of the nature around you to come into your senses can really help. And there is an exercise that I could teach you. I mean, that I can teach you and your viewers that is an intervention. So this is what's called a somatic intervention, and we use it when people are like in the grip of fear or like in an anxiety attack. And so and this is something you can do, anytime. So if you're at home and you find yourself, spinning out into the what if and oh my gosh, what's going to happen? What you do is you look around the room and you notice and name 3 things to yourself. So like for me, if I'm looking around my table, I might say like pencil, glass, computer. Mm-hmm. And then you either close your eyes or you can just kind of look down. So this lets your awareness come internally. And you notice and name 3 things you can feel in your body. So for me at this moment, like I might say chair because I can feel where the chair is supporting me. I might say glasses because I can feel the glasses on my face. I might say dry because my mouth is dry. Mm-hmm. So something like that. And you do that 3 times in a row. And what it does is it allows your whole system to calm down and brings you right into the present moment. So that's
so great.
Yeah, anxiety intervention. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really useful because there's just so much unknown. And sometimes I know for me, I can just feel like I'm floating away into just this freaked out gas in the air. So I'm going to practice that today.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that I think has been really helpful for me, and I've seen helping other people, and I think it's helping you, is getting some creative expression out in some way. And for different people, it's different. Like for me, I like to bake, so I've been baking almost every day. The idea of the ridiculous minimum is if you heard yourself say out loud, I can't do that, or I don't have time to do that it would be ridiculous. So setting those very low expectations, and like, don't be you can go as low as you need to go with we do this a lot with teaching people how to meditate. And if it's 1 minute, it's 1 minute. Like you stick with something that you can actually do, and just keep them low and easy.
Great. Thanks for saying that. Now, for someone who maybe has never meditated before, but wants to start a practice, but feels really overwhelmed by it, you're saying that even just to sit for 1 minute a day can actually start to make a difference?
Absolutely. It's not the time. And in fact, people who, if they've never meditated before, you can find places in your life where you are meditating and you just don't know it, right? So for instance, before I was able to sit still, I was a runner, and like a literal runner. And that was how I was able to reach a meditative state. And I knew that I was there because what happened was the thoughts in my mind slowed down and I was able to watch them. So the thoughts don't stop in meditation, but we just can allow them to pass by. And I think this is why what I was saying about the creative expression is so important, because for instance, I started this, it's not actually a painting because I'm using colored pencils, but it's kind of like a painting. And so once you get in that flow and you have this feeling where you're noticing you can notice your thoughts going by, but you're not wrapped up in the same pattern over and over again. So you're already meditating. And for some people, that's exercising. Like I love barre, and I can get into meditative state in barre. or the baking does that for me. So I'm just saying all that to say that the practice of sitting still and watching your breath starts with 1 minute. And that's really the way that, you can start with 1 minute, and then combined with acknowledging where you're finding that peace of mind in other places in your life, then you start to bring those practices together, because you can recognize, okay, I'm sitting here and watching my breath, and I know I'm breathing in and I know I'm breathing out. And then what happens is you become aware that, oh, this is what it feels like when I'm walking or drawing or singing or dancing or, whatever it is. And then you're meditating.
I can totally understand that, because when I was working on the sign, gluing on all of the rhinestones, I got into this great zone of feeling really at peace and just not wanting it to stop. But I realized that maybe not wanting it to stop is because I'm an addict. But it definitely felt like meditation. So yeah, if we get out our craft supplies, whatever they are, the glitter and the glue, it feels so good. So thanks for mentioning that. Now, you are a yoga therapist. How is that different from being a yoga instructor?
Excellent question. So the difference between a yoga instructor and a yoga therapist is that with the yoga therapist, there's a couple of different tools that we employ, but the main thing is that yoga therapy is a back and forth, and so it's a relationship where instruction is just that, it's instruction. It's just a one-way street. And even though, there's many good yoga teachers and yoga instructors out there who will teach a group class and teach to what they see in the room and maybe modify a little bit, but it's still a one-way kind of street. And there's will be a kind of sequence that they've prepared. They may modify a little bit, but in general, it's just a one-way street. Whereas yoga therapy starts with a consultation and a conversation before there's anything. And then the asana portion, which is the poses and the moving, is structured with a specific goal in mind. But it's also combined with an assessment of the person's constitution. So if they have like more kind of earthy energy, or more watery, or more fiery, and like I was saying before about acknowledging where you are, that this part of the yoga therapy consultation is acknowledging what your constitution is. If you're watery, we're not going to try to turn you into a fireball. You're watery. So we're going to work with the watery